Greetings to my lovely audience. The world is changing, so are we. So during these turbulent times of the pandemic and all the uncertainty, you could all see that we are in need of leaders who are really responsible, humane, efficient, and aware. And when I say leader, I don't just mean the professionals or our politicians, but I do mean anyone can become a leader within their own little community. I've witnessed some people coming to the forefront and offering a helping hand to others in need during this pandemic. And they also established centers and contributed to sharing information and help within their community. So you can be your little local hero if you wish. Just start small and then dream big. This is going to be a very easy mini webinar, yet a really powerful start for you to develop your leadership capabilities. There's a little workbook accompanying the content of this webinar, and then you can just flick through this workbook, interact with these little activities at your own pace and discretion. You can always revisit these activities if you wish to do so. You can find the link to this in the description of this webinar and below as well. Okay, I encourage you to download this and have a little play with these activities. Now I'm going to start this little slideshow. So welcome to the presentation on mindful leadership. What does this title cover? Obviously, we are going to be looking at the concept of leadership, and we are going to be investigating what makes a good leader, and also looking at the concept of mindfulness. And then we are going to be looking at the connection between mindfulness and leadership. So let's start with looking at what leadership is about. Leadership is about human values. So obviously a good leader needs to possess a whole range of traits such as humility, empathy, self-awareness, ability to create a team and holding them together, communication, willingness to take risks, being optimistic and curious, having unbounded energy, being empathetic, and you name it. What else can you think of? So leaders have to develop extraordinary qualities, but they also have to present hard, sustained work. No one can get away with just being brilliant and not working hard enough. Look at this gentleman on the picture. He's Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks. In 1987, Starbucks had only 11 stores with about 100 people. How many do you think they have now? Over 31,000. He had an aspiration and he built a national brand. His great dream and the great team absolutely paid off to his business and his dreams, his desires. As he would put it, people don't want to be managed. They want to be part of something larger than themselves. They want to be part of a vision they can buy into. And they want to see themselves in that vision. They also want to see themselves valued and appreciated. To make the most out of the content of this webinar, I organize it in a way that it provides information and at the same time it offers you assistance in building your leadership capacities and capabilities. I'll introduce some important leadership traits and concepts. So these are your lessons, so go and learn it. And then along with some tips you can take away and start practicing right away so that you'll own it, okay? So let's see these important leadership qualities. Leaders are intellectually curious. They always look around corners and see things that other people cannot see. They listen to other people and put themselves in a position to learn. Teddy Roosevelt, for example, the US president, always kept a curious mind, and he claimed that leaders are not born, but made. So good news for you. It is time for us to build these leadership capabilities. So how can we do that then? I'll give you some tips so you can practice. And definitely start with reading, and then establish connections and study hard. Employers expect uni students to work for organizations of any size, to learn, to understand their ways, and to experience what it feels like being part of an organization. So they also expect graduates to develop beautiful humility towards work, great attitude, and they want humble employees, not some arrogant smarty pants. So they encourage you to seek people out and learn from them. Get a mentor. Learning is a lifelong process, and mentoring is about evolution. It's an evolutionary process. So it's a serious commitment, not just some casual arrangement. I encourage you to open your LinkedIn account and start looking at the different organizations, what they are up to, try to find a mentor, look in the industry that you really desire to work in, to be involved. And I created this workbook to the webinar that I just showed you on the screen. So I very much encourage you to download this from the website, from the description of this webinar, and play with it, interact with it, okay? Be curious, be hungry for information, and see how others do their magic. Study the outstanding characters of history and see who's your role model. Why do you look up to them? How can you implement their leadership lessons in your own life? Even Nelson Mandela had a mentor, a role model who inspired his way of thinking and being and just feeling. This mysterious man was called Walter Sisulu, and they worked together at the African National Congress. So why do you think it's so important to have a role model? Of course, for inspiration, right? So when things get rough, you can still bring yourself back to the moment and ask yourself, what would Mary Poppins do? And you just substitute Mary Poppins with whoever your hero is, okay? So now leadership is not about being a hero. It's about making heroes. Leaders help their people emerge and bring the best out of them. Let your hero do the same for you. Let your Mary Poppins make you a true hero. Leaders have to set some priorities so they can keep a focus. Steve Jobs, for example, took his top 100 employees away from the office to brainstorm. After some debates, they came out with a list of 10 projects. Focusing on all the 10 projects would only dilute the company's impact, and obviously that wouldn't be very productive. But he took away the bottom 7 projects, making his employees only focus on the top 3 projects. So this is how they could put all their effort into perfecting their products and services. So now, sit down and reflect on your trimester. Or maybe after this webinar, just take a piece of paper, sit down and go through what happened, okay? Assess the time allocated to your studies, to your readings, to assignments, exam preparations, what have you, okay? Then ask these questions. Have you done any other learning? Any personal or professional development programs? And how much time do you spend with family, sports, cooking, healthy food? I hope that's something you do quite a lot. How much time do you spend on social media sites? Be honest, okay? What's the most important impact of all these different activities? And that's a key question, okay? Always ask this question from yourself. What is the impact of everything I do? Okay? So where do you have your biggest impact? That's a very important question. When you plan well, it's easier to manage that volatile balance between your professional and your personal life. Relaxation is really underappreciated in our busy world, and success is kind of measured in all the things we do. So it's all about doing, creating, getting things done. And we cannot really be successful if we are not doing our things well. So try to find a way that relaxes you. Give yourself time to think. Creativity happens when you are away. Just remove yourself from the situation you are currently in. Why do you think Steve Jobs took his employees away from the office to brainstorm, right? Exactly, of course. They want to remove or be removed from their usual environment. A leader is a servant sometimes, and they serve their followers. So leaders are responsible for their people, and you need to be you in order to be someone for your people. So ask the question, what makes you really relaxed? Going for a run, having a power nap, meditating, going to the theater, baking a cake, something that recharges you so it doesn't make your nervous system wound up like playing video games. Sorry, guys, for being the bearer of the bad news, but something gentle and soothing. Just have a think about it, okay? And return to this whenever you feel the need, and whenever too many things are going together at the same time, just return to that activity or just state of being. Success depends on collaborating with other people. So most of the time we form teams for everything we do. Just imagine cooking together, playing football together, writing assignments together. We share credit and we share the failure as well. So surround yourself with people who can help you turn your dream into reality. Your teammates will share the same values, and ideally they should believe in your vision. However, you as a leader need to look at inviting people with different views. So create a team of rivals, if you like. If you can persuade them and you are not afraid of arguing and being questioned, then you've got a potential to become a great leader, and then you've got a great team that can work together. So you want people around you who are not echoing your words, but who are ready to debate, who are ready to contradict, who are ready to work with you. When hiring a team, a leader is looking at expertise, something that's complementing the skill sets and values, of course. Are we sharing the same values? My favorite polar explorer, Ernest Shackleton, went to conquer the polar zone, and he needed to recruit men with endurance, of course, right? He could stay alive under extreme circumstances and who would bring special expertise to the team, like sailors and firemen, navigators and physicists and surgeons, carpenters and geologists, engineers, meteorologists, motor experts and cooks. So each man in the team contributed to the success of the whole expedition to their own way. When you prepare for group assignments, just remember this, please, okay? You are sharing the credit and you are sharing the failure too. So get to know your fellow students and see if you can find your team. Now, good leaders score high on emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the ability to self-reflect, to have self-discipline, to listen to others, to read other people's feelings, to understand our own feelings. And we are humans, and that life form comes with emotions. So in fact, it's the ability to feel and live emotions that differentiates us from objects or robots or even from another human being. So use this positive emotion to fuel your passion for life and the passion for your goals. If, however, negative emotions arise, just please don't hold them, okay? Don't let them fester. Instead, just develop your self-discipline. That is, be able to control unproductive emotions. Be aware of them so you can release them. And you can develop your own practice to release negative emotions. Lincoln, for example, had his own ritual of writing hot letters. And that's something I do when I'm marking assignments, just sharing my little secret with you here. So he put everything into these little hot letters, and then he could cool down. And of course, you don't need to send these, or you can decide to send them or keep them, but at least you managed to vent them out. They are now outside of ourselves. And there are some things that's better that we could to keep to ourselves, of course. So leaders with high emotional intelligence score are more resilient. And that's what we are looking for. There's no secret. This means they can overcome adversity, which is a very important leadership quality. So think of FDR, President Roosevelt. Early in his life, he contracted polio and he was paralyzed. He couldn't walk anymore. And he said, "This is pure humility. When I'm learning through crawling." And just imagine the first man of the nation who literally crawled on the floor when he fell out of his wheelchair. And what extraordinary thing did he accomplish in the American history, hey? When you see a challenge, ask this question: can we get through it? Can we learn from it? Can we grow from it? Perhaps it's a good idea for you to include these responses in your newly purchased diary. So, while developing your emotional intelligence, observe your surroundings, the situation, yourself, others, and see how you can develop your awareness. Keep a record of all these observations, of your emotions, and of the outcomes as well. So get your little journaling going, okay? Every successful being has a diary. Get yours today and start writing. Study and travel. Understand the differences and see what it takes to be a farmer, a butcher, an investment broker, a tour guide, a dancer, a removalist, what have you. Just empathize. And now let's see this thing called mindfulness. John Kabat-Zinn is a professor of medicine, and he's integrated Buddhist teachings with scientific findings and introduced the concept of mindfulness to the world. He founded the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, or MBSR as we refer to this. And this is a widely practiced package by professionals, health professionals all over the world. He defines mindfulness as a state when we are paying attention in a particular way, on a purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So it's about being fully awake to our lives. It's a blissful place where we stop doing and just start being. When that happens, we stop planning, we stop worrying, we stop analyzing, and we start observing. As the mind calms down, awareness sharpens, and our perspective on things changes. The practice of mindfulness has a bunch of positive impacts on our physical, mental, emotional, and relational well-being. So I don't need to read out this slide for you. I think you can have a little look at the list of these findings of the study that you can actually access below. I included the link there. So I will give you a few seconds to take it all in and read it through at your own pace. Ready? So why mindful leadership? How does mindfulness relate to leadership? You guessed it. It enhances it. Mindfulness is a tool that can help you develop your leadership skills and make you a more capable and aware person. Now let's see how. On the left-hand side, you can see the leadership qualities we briefly covered. And on the right-hand side on the screen, you can see the corresponding benefit that practicing mindfulness will bring in. So the first one is about mindfulness practice, training the observing mind so we can make it stronger. Remember, stop doing, start being. Start to see things for what they are. Then, while looking into the qualities of our heroes, we can develop our self-concept and build self-awareness instead of just merely copying our role models. It's important to have a role models, but we don't want to just copy them. We want to be ourselves and the best version of it, obviously. Then you look into the third one. Mindfulness improves concentration, and it can help establish healthy boundaries with ourselves and others. So we can build our assertiveness and learn to say no to requests that are beyond our capacities. And that's very important for us to learn to prioritize, even during studies. And once you graduate and you start to work for your favorite organization, it's going to be even more important skill for you. The next one, work-life balance is a given when engaging in mindfulness. How good is that? So you are calm, you see the world differently, and you withdraw from the everyday demand and possibly drama too. Then mindfulness is about kindness and compassion towards ourselves and others. So it helps building empathy. And then you saw how important it is to be an empathetic person if you want to lead people and you lead your own life. And lastly, improved emotional intelligence is a very important benefit of mindfulness practice. It leads to positive self-esteem, balanced mood, improved resilience, and emotional regulations. So do you think it's something unusual? And just look at these few logos displayed on the screen. These are a few examples of the companies practicing mindfulness. And you will see more and more that this is the new norm. So you might have heard of many of these. Goldman Sachs is a multinational investment bank. They have regular mindfulness trainings offered. Google, I don't need to introduce the company, I guess. They actually develop their own training, the Search Inside Yourself. And if you wish to, you can download the book and get familiar with Google's own mindfulness practice. Intel is a multinational technology company. Sentinel is a healthcare company. And the CEO is practicing mindfulness on a regular basis. If a CEO has time for it, by the way, so do you. So Nu Skin is a cosmetic company, General Mills is a food company, as you could have guessed it. And then you can see these are large corporations, and they swear by the value of mindfulness practice. So what do we do with all of these? We covered shortly in this little webinar. Take these tips into consideration, okay? Play with your workbook, download it, do your activities, do your reflections, and also remember that you've got plenty of services available on campus, okay? We've got on level 2, Nick, your life coach or career coach or performance coach. We've got Juliana in career counseling or job links services. And we do offer mindfulness courses as well. So we offer the Coral mindfulness course straight from the US, which is practiced widely in the world. And we are offering it for free to JCUB students. So attend your courses and start your mindfulness practice along with building up these capabilities to become a good leader for the 21st century. since mindfulness program or practice is a practice, obviously it's a practice, so it's not just one-off. You need to cultivate it. You need to engage in this on a regular basis. So we will help you with the training, and we're organizing our next training starting on the 29th of July. It's an international course practiced online, so you can access it from anywhere. And it's practiced in small groups. So obviously the places are going to fill up very quickly. So keep an eye on your emails, and we will send you the registration details shortly, okay? Thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you enjoy this little teaser. And if you have any questions, observations, you will find my email address at the bottom of the screen. And with this, we reach the end of this webinar, and I hope you are going to use the content of your to your benefit and start building your capabilities. Also, start your mindfulness practice and become the best version of yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Ciao for now.